But my point is that there's no due diligence you can do, because everything the porn performer says in public is part of the performance.
Yeah.
So convincing people... Sorry, go ahead.
Like, I've got two things to say. The first is, like, this is how I cope with watching porn myself.
Oh, I wish that, no. I think his point is actually true. I think that if you are consuming someone's marketing material, of course, you never know what's really going on. But what I'm about to do really annoys me. I'm about to tell the story of how I prefer to watch my friends' porn, or even porn that I'm in, because then, since I'm the sub, I know I was having a good time, so I don't have to worry. If I'm crying, I know that that was only because in the moment it was intense, not because I was regretting my career choices. This is true, which is why I say it, but actually it's not useful for this conversation because, quite understandably, that's not what your average consumer can do. So I should have talked about what a consumer who doesn't have a load of friends who are pornographers could do, like checking out the model's relationships online with the people she works with, because that can give you some confidence that actually she's working with people she's comfortable with. I wish I'd said that instead of talking about myself. And I think one thing I've definitely learned from this debate is that I have always shied away from making points about people who aren't me. I always feel like the only person I can really talk about with authority is myself. So if I'm going to tell a story, it should be about me, because I have a right to that, and it means that I won't be misrepresenting anybody else. But now I see the flaw with that in that, I am not a typical porn consumer, so I should be talking about more typical porn consumers than myself. So this takes us down a direction which is not very helpful, because then he can say, well, which he does, well, then you are instinctively coming to the same conclusion as me because you prefer not to watch random porn of strangers, which is true. Like, he's correct about that.
This is how I cope with watching porn myself, which isn't something everyone can do. Because I agree with you, especially because what I like watching is BDSM, and I like watching relatively hard BDSM. I'm submissive myself, so I like to watch male-dominant, female-submissive porn. And obviously that can look kind of violent, and to an outsider it can be kind of disturbing. And I definitely, as a performer myself, worry about whether the woman's actually having fun or not. I worry about both performers, but I worry more about the woman because she's the one in the submissive position. And so
they started doing this. They started interviewing them before and after.
Yeah. Kink.com did that in a sort of attempt.
Like, oh, this is so high five. Good job, Dave. That was so fun.
Yeah, and obviously you can't believe that because they're not going to get paid until after they've done that, signed the model release, and then they get their money.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a rather imperfect way of doing things. So what I do, which is not something everyone can do, is I just watch my friends' porn. So, because I know them, I know what their tastes are, because I know what they do in their private lives in sex, and I know which producers they actually like working with. So then I feel like, I think I'm watching stuff that they're definitely happy with, like that they're definitely comfortable with. And I watch quite a lot of my own porn because I'm in it, and obviously I know that I was having the time of my life. And obviously I don't find myself hot, so I'm watching the male dom rather than myself. So I'm aware that not everyone can just watch porn that their friends are in, because most people don't know pornographers.
Well, aren't you basically saying you agree with me then, that because you have the exact same concern as me, you don't watch porn?
Yeah, and he's right. He's right. Based on what I've just said, he is right. Like, I have just completely led myself into this very difficult position where I'm saying basically I only watch porn of people I know, which isn't even true. Like, I prefer it. And I don't watch very much porn. I wish I hadn't done that. It's very frustrating, and he quite properly is picking up on that. I've just got a lot to learn with this. And I don't mean to be over-critical of myself. I like to analyse my performances and improve things. It doesn't mean that I think I did terribly. I'm actually quite proud of how I did, because I remained pleasant. I remained good-humoured. I continued to enjoy it. I don't think I became defensive. And I didn't let him argue me down to a different position. So I'm actually proud of my performance. It's just this particular moment of it. It will not ever make my show real of life. God.
You don't personally know the person?
I mean, I have the same concern, yes, because how do you know?
You don't.
No, but I think it's reasonable. But I think it's reasonable. The balance of probabilities suggests to me that if someone's been doing it for 20 years, hasn't pursued another job, even though they could because they're smart and they've got other things they could be doing, I think it's reasonable to believe them when they tell you that they're happy.
So if someone has been a Jehovah's Witness for 20 years, and they tell you that they're happy with it,
I wouldn't try to stop them being a Jehovah's Witness.
That's not the analogy.
Okay.
That is a fair point. It's not. What I really should have said is that, I would believe them. I mean, even though being a Jehovah's Witness was terrible for me and my family, I'm sure for some people it just makes them feel safe and comfortable, and if they are lucky enough to have good friends within the religion, then I wouldn't try to persuade someone not to be, because I don't know what it's like being every person. And I just feel like that would be quite prescriptive and authoritarian of me. Even though I think being a Jehovah's Witness is a really bad thing, I don't think it's necessarily bad for every individual who's ever been in it. Yeah.
What's the analogy? Yes, that they might be lying to themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, they might be. I don't think they probably are lying to themselves.
Is it good for men to jerk off to videos of women who might be lying to themselves about whether they even really consent to what's happening?
I think it's okay to. I
don't mean is it immoral. I mean, is it something we want men to do?
I don't think it's unreasonable to consume the content of someone who you don't know, and you don't know.
I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I'm saying, like, if you were designing a society, and then you're like, and then, 7 to 21 times a week, every man in the society will jerk off looking at a video of a woman, and he'll be thinking to himself, she's probably fine with what she's doing. I'm not sure, but whatever. Is that a good thing?
21 times a week would be quite a lot. And I do realise that this is probably an attitude I'm going to come up against over and over again if I keep debating porn, is I think a lot of anti-porn people just start off from a point of view of all the people who consume porn and all the people who create porn should feel this sort of baseline sense of shame that they know they're doing something a bit wrong. The whole thing's a bit grubby, it's a bit dysfunctional. And I want to make the point very clearly that I just simply do not think that's the case. I genuinely, deep down, believe that it's good for me to masturbate, it's good for me to be able to access this stuff so that I can masturbate. Orgasms are good for us. It is perfectly okay. I genuinely do not think there is anything shameful or wrong or harmful about men watching porn and masturbating. I just don't think that's wrong. I don't see anything wrong at all with a society where people do that. I just don't. I can see that you could end up doing it compulsively, doing too much of it, and it might interfere with other aspects of your life. I mean, I think for most people that would be quite a short period probably, like when they first discover that this is a thing. But I just, full stop, do not think it's a bad thing, and I think I maybe need to always just make that point really clearly, that I'm not arguing from a position of, well, I know it's a bit grubby, but there we are. I just don't think that. I think it's absolutely fine. I think it's as fine as watching football on TV or going and playing darts or going to the cinema or watching a soap opera. I think it's all fine.
I think you might be unusually introspective. Maybe I'm being unfair because, of course, I don't know you. But I don't think most people watching porn are thinking the things that either you or I are expressing at the moment. I don't think they're thinking, is she okay? Is she not okay?
But then we tell the same men to think that in real life. We want them thinking that in real life.
Yes, we do want them thinking it in real life, yes.
So
yes.
What's the difference?
Because I don't think you have a responsibility when you're watching entertainment to worry about whether the performers are having a great time or not.
So is child porn okay to watch?
No.
Why not?
Because
I have no responsibility.
Because as a society, we have agreed that a child can't consent. So then you're watching.
We've agreed that somebody who doesn't consent can't consent.
Yes, but if they're saying they consent and they're an adult, we have agreed as a society we accept that, which is why we let people join up to the army, which is why we let people.
But we don't. But with men and sex, we don't quite accept that. The men are supposed to be trying to attune beyond the signature on the paper of, yes, I technically legally consent. There is some, I think probably you and I both share the view that there is a social or moral, ethical expectation beyond the technical legal bar of consent that we should be thinking about whether the person actually wants to do what they're doing beyond their own self-reporting.
This is really interesting. This is a really interesting conversation. Thank you. I've never had this particular conversation before. So I think that we do expect that men will continue, say they're on a first date, we do expect that if they say, can we have sex? The woman says yes, and they have sex. We do think that's okay. If they get consent.
No matter what else happens? I can obviously craft a story that hits those beats and that you would say, this probably person shouldn't have had sex with this other person.
Yeah, me too. I can think of some examples. But basically, in civilian sex, just people having sex, no money, no porn, no cameras, if someone says yes, if they consent, and they don't say it in a way that makes you think, oh, they're saying yes when they mean no, actually we do accept that.
No, but you're kind of tautologically circumventing the problem, which is, if you don't think about it, then you're never going to think they're saying yes when they mean no. The only reason you'd ever think that is if you considered it. So the question is, do men have an ethical obligation to consider it?
In real life, yes.
And then my question is, why doesn't that extend to porn?
Because when you're watching someone's professional product, you don't have a responsibility to. I don't think you have the same. Okay, I don't think you have the same level of responsibility. So definitely there would be, like, if there was a film franchise where actors kept dying on set, I would probably stop watching those movies if it hadn't been shut down already.
I'm glad I brought it back to non-porn, because absolutely, this is what I'm saying now is exactly what I think. So at least at this point, I am saying exactly what I genuinely think, and I'm saying it fairly clearly. So I'm quite happy about this section.
Already, I would stop going and watching those movies probably.
Do you know about Kill Bill?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I don't watch Quentin Tarantino movies anymore.
I'm pretty close to being there also.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he harms the actors.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't follow up on this as well as I could have done. Now I'm seeing that, so he is, I think, basically saying so that he started to think maybe some porn performers weren't okay and he stopped watching porn altogether. But he did watch Tarantino movies. He is still watching Tarantino movies, even though he now knows for a fact that something definitely went wrong for one actress in a Tarantino movie. So by his logic, based on what he's done with his porn viewing, what he should be doing is not only not watching Tarantino movies anymore, he shouldn't be watching any movies anymore, because the fact that something bad happened to one actress in a movie once means it could happen again. And that's what he's not saying. So I wish that I had pushed back more on this point. I'm glad we've got back to talking about non-porn so that we can use it as a comparison, because I think it's a really reasonable one. But one thing I've discovered is that I was comfortable being on the defensive. I was happy defending my own position, but I didn't attack his position very much at all. And I think I probably should have done, because I guess that's probably the way to actually win an argument. I think I played a very defensive game in this, which is fine. It was my first time, but that's definitely something that's lodged in my mind for next time I get to do something like this. I don't want to just be defending my position. I want to be interrogating theirs more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's really interesting, because I don't think you have a responsibility as an audience member when you first see a Quentin Tarantino film to be like, I wonder if he's making the actors do bad stuff. But when you start to hear repeated stories, that's the point at which maybe you do start to feel like a responsibility to not put more money in his pocket. Yeah, I agree with you about that.
I really wanted to agree.
So I guess when you consume entertainment, I don't think it's reasonable to expect someone to have the same level of responsibility, when they're watching a film, as they would if they were on set or if they were a shareholder in the company.
But you behave as though you do. You stopped watching Quentin Tarantino movies the same way you would have walked off the set.
Eventually, yeah, but it took me much longer. But, I didn't stop watching him because I thought his use of racial language was a bit much. I thought it was a bit much. I didn't like it. But I didn't think, right, this is the point at which I have to stop watching. It was when I heard Uma Thurman's story that I thought, yeah, this is for me, this is kind of crossing the line. And so I think, maybe this is an interesting thing. I'd be interested to see your take on this, because I speak to a lot of porn consumers, of course, because they're my customers. And it is interesting listening to them talk about the kind of ethical thresholds they discover as time goes on. So sometimes they've stopped watching some genres or some producers as a result of, I guess, something rather similar to what you're saying, the kind of concern about, are these people all really okay? So they might not have done the same as you, they might not have stopped watching porn altogether, but they've stopped watching some porn. So that's certainly a thing that consumers do express in porn, the same as with entertainment. But I don't...
What do you think about hiring a prostitute or sex worker?
It's not my area.
What's your opinion?
I'm really glad that one thing I have learned, specifically from watching Richard Dawkins in Conversation and Debate, is that he is comfortable saying, I don't know, when he doesn't know. And I'm really glad at this point I say I don't know about full service sex work, because I don't know. And one thing, if I do get the chance to do more of this, I don't ever want to be kind of talking over the people who actually do know about this, because I think it would be really easy for me now to say something that full service sex workers would listen to and feel like, oh, for God's sake, it's another woman who doesn't do our job talking about our job like she knows when she doesn't. So I'm really glad that I realised.
It's not my area.
What's your opinion?
I sort of feel like I might be like one of the fucking politicians on Newsnight last week, telling the world what they thought about porn without having done any research. So I feel like I probably don't want to express much of an opinion on in-person sex work, because I just don't know enough. I don't know, don't know any in-person sex workers who have actual sex. I know some pro-doms
Do you
and some
think it's
pro-subs.
unethical for a man to hire a woman to have sex?
I don't think so, no. I think there are ways in which it certainly could be unethical, and certainly the kind of, when you're at the level of survival sex work, if you're hiring very cheap escorts, who maybe don't have options to do other jobs, I can see as a consumer, if that was me trying to do that, I don't think I'd be very comfortable with that.
Does an untrained, uneducated 22-year-old sex worker who's making $5,000 a night and has set her life up around, has house payments and carpet, like, does she have the freedom to stop? I guess she wants to lose the house, I guess. You know what I mean? I just don't know that the level of income.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I'm afraid. Like, I think I don't feel comfortable giving a really strong opinion on it because I don't know enough people in that situation.
So I was almost drawn into giving an opinion anyway, and then I remembered I was trying to be Richard Dawkins, and I stopped again. You might not have recognised this as me being Richard Dawkins if I hadn't pointed it out to you, so I'm glad to have pointed it out to you now so that you can understand that I'm aiming high. I'm going to stop, change my battery, make myself a cup of tea, and I will be back for more. All right, I'm back with tea. Let's carry on.
Like male friends of mine who've used escorts, when they told me that, I haven't thought badly of them. I haven't thought, wow, that's like next door to being a rapist. I've not thought anything like that. But without having any data that I've gathered myself from the actual in-person sex workers, I don't really feel like I want to speak over them.
No.
What do you think? I'm guessing you're against that then, because you're.
I think I'm against it.
Okay, and you've actually done it. So
I've been paid for sex.
Yeah.
I hired a girl to twerk for me once.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess that counts. Yeah.
And she was black, which I think makes it worse.
yeah, I can see that.
And but at the time I was doing sex work, so I was like, whatever. And I was an art model. I was in porn, and I don't think I should have done that.
Do you feel like you were kind of harmed by it?
No, I think she was.
Oh, sorry. Do you mean the sex worker?
Was I harmed by the sex work I did? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in some ways, but
Okay.
but again, I'm like a little cockroach. I'm very resilient and resourceful. So
I wish I challenged that, because so am I. If you can acknowledge that you personally were okay doing sex work or not unduly damaged because you are resilient and resourceful, then perhaps if you're not giving the same credit to all the other sex workers like me for being potentially just as resilient and resourceful, it feels like you're kind of infantilizing them, like you're saying I was okay or mostly okay because of my resilience that I don't believe anyone else can really have. So I wish I'd challenged that a bit and at least sort of dug deeper into what he means by that, because I think that might have been an opportunity for me to point out that a whole bunch of adult women probably should be allowed to rely on their own resilience and resourcefulness. But I wasn't clever enough to do that.
So I did not have a lot of money, but I could have if I wanted to.
Right. Yes.
So I was there by choice.
So would you feel more comfortable like watching porn of performers if you were pretty confident that they were resilient and resourceful? Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And so you could choose to do that.
I find like
So now I'm going to, what I was hoping to do is stop talking about the thing that we've been talking about by then for 45 minutes and start talking about a different aspect of the industry. So I tried to get us onto a discussion of ethnicity in the industry and things that I don't do because I'm worried. I'm trying to talk about a whole different topic and it doesn't work. He brings us back to what he wants to talk about. So I'm just going to skip this because there's no point. We have a discussion about whether AI will destroy my career, and I say no, but I've skipped that as well because it's not particularly interesting.
If we all get UBI, you're going to keep making porn.
Sorry, say that again.
If we all get UBI,
What's UBI?
universal basic income.
Oh.
You have infinite money.
I think I would. I think probably a lot of people wouldn't. I think I might only shoot the stuff that is to my taste, potentially, possibly. Although no, that's not true. Like I've got a customer who likes me to be pretending to be eaten by a monster under the bed, so I just have to like gradually drag myself under the bed, kicking my feet. And honestly, it's not my kink at all, but it's so much fun. Just from an acting point of view, I think I'd probably keep all my favourite customers and just shoot my favourites, probably.
That's true, I think. I think
I think
right.
like, when I speak to creatives about this question, often what they seem to say is a lot of them say they'd still do their job, they just do less of it. because if they didn't have the pressure to hit a certain income or a certain level of productivity, they just do everything more slowly, and maybe I'd like to be able to slow down, like make better work because I didn't have the commercial
Pressure.
feeling of, but I've got another video to shoot because I want my income to be this much. So yeah, I think I'd probably shoot less. Would you still do this?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's my mission. It's my self-appointed station. It's not really about the money. I need money.
Yeah.
But I'll do it, even if I'll probably do it. I'll do more fucked up stuff if I have more money.
Yeah,
But,
because
I'm always afraid of getting banned. I got banned from
Yeah.
YouTube. I got banned from Patreon. I got banned from TikTok. I've been banned
I
from
don't know
Twitch.
why. I don't know
oh wow,
why.
I'm really sorry. So what have you got left? Like Rumble?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Substack.
Oh good, yes, I'm on Substack too. Yeah. Love that. At the moment it's really permissive because it's new. Obviously it won't stay that way.
Well,
But
then I'll get banned from that.
sorry, say that. I
Oh,
missed
no, I'll
that.
get banned. I'll get banned.
Yeah, no,
Substack.
I think I might eventually as well. But okay, so you would still produce stuff because you love it. Yeah, so would I. I just
Oh.
So what I'm trying to do there is remind him that working in porn is just like any other job. So a lot of the things that he will feel that his job is his mission is something I will feel. I'm not sure if that point really landed. I think maybe it did, because now there is a long awkward pause, and I think he brings us back to the disagreement, I think.
Okay,
just
listen. So your positions are as follows.
yeah.
It is not a man's responsibility to think about whether the woman in the porn he is watching actually consents to being in it.
No, not unless he's got a reason to start worrying, like with the Tarantino story. No, I think it's
So
reasonable.
by default, we should assume that the women in porn, any random porn we watch, the women in porn we should assume want to be doing it.
I think that's maybe a bit of an amplification of what I'm saying, because I think there are some things that could be kind of red flags with porn that you maybe should watch out
Yes,
for.
but again, when you invoke red flag, you're invoking thinking about it.
I mean, there's some stuff you don't really have to think about, though, isn't there? Like,
There is. No. There's a
Yeah.
threshold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but I'm saying every person has a threshold, and we're just talking
Yeah.
about where the threshold is. We're just moving one lever.
Yeah.
If
So
the
no, I
threshold-
think
if the threshold is unmeetable, then that's a sociopathic rapist. There's
Yeah.
nothing that will set off a
Yeah.
red flag.
Yeah. So
And
I
then-
think, as a default, I think it is reasonable when you're watching professionally produced entertainment of any sort, pornographic or not. I think it is perfectly fine to not be thinking, oh my god, is that actor okay? Are they okay? I think it's okay to just consume it until you have a reason to, like reports start coming out about a studio. Until that happens, yeah, I don't think, as a consumer of a product, I don't think you have the same level of responsibility that you do if you're there on set or if you're a shareholder or
So
if
if you're watching a porn and you see a woman get punched in the face and blood comes out of her nose, you should not be thinking, oh my god, is she okay?
No, I think at that point, yeah, that'll be perfectly fine.
So this
yeah.
is what
I wish I'd said this, because it applies to talking about footage of children being abused. It applies to seeing assault. Those things are illegal. They're not legal to do in life. So of course they're not legal to do in a film. It could be fake, obviously, because we would watch someone being punched in the face in a mainstream movie and we wouldn't actually be watching that assault happen. But yeah, I think if you've got a reason to believe you're watching an actual person be assaulted on camera, then that would be a crime. That's just footage of a crime. And I don't like the way in which non-porn people will tend to try to just sort of sneak in. Oh yeah, but what about something that's completely illegal? And I think, well, that's not in any way a fair comparison. The sort of porn that I shoot, it's all activities that you are allowed to do in real life. This is not the same thing at all. And I think I'm going to, in future, try to make that distinction and not let people get away with any conflation of stuff that's not legal to do on camera or in real life and stuff that is legal to do. I don't really do that as strongly as I would have liked to in this.
No, I think at that point, yeah, that'll be perfectly fine.
So this
yeah.
is what I'm saying.
So
I'm
like-
saying
so
that
you-
you're logically working into you're working the conclusion into the setup.
Like, I think it would be fine to start watching the movie, like when no one's getting punched yet. Everyone looks like they're having a perfectly fine time. At the point of,
You've already said that the person watching the video either is or should be assessing whether everybody looks like they're having a perfectly fine time.
no, I mean, I don't think they should be consciously having to do that. I think that's a very natural,
Should they be
instinctive thing.
It's not natural. Soldiers will raid a village and rape every woman in it. It's not natural. There's a wide range of behaviors that men will exhibit when it comes to women's consent. The question I'm asking you, and you cannot appeal to a default. That's why I keep pushing back, because you keep invoking this default reasonable guy, and there isn't one.
I mean, I think there are some.
There is not a default guy.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm sorry.
One thing I am learning from debating with people, both in this debate and when I'm making YouTube videos and debating in the comments, is that people do quite often accuse me of being naive. And I realise that I can see why they think that, because I'm quite optimistic about human beings and their motivations and their behaviours. But the reason I am like that is because I grew up in this authoritarian cult, being taught that the world was full of awful people who wanted to do awful things, that the world was this pretty evil place. And my experience of the people in the world as a child, because I was a member of a cult, people were really cruel, other children were really cruel. My experience of interacting with other people was that a lot of people were hostile, and I thought that's what the world was like. And as an adult, I have discovered that that is not by any means necessarily the case. The way I've experienced the world and the people in it as an adult has been so overwhelmingly positive, that I have seen so much goodness and kindness in people, and I have made friendships that I treasure so greatly, that I don't think my optimistic stance about how good people are is based on being stupid or naive. I think it's based on the contrast between what I thought the world was going to be like and what the world has actually been like to me. And I think in future I need to make that point more clearly, that I'm not naive about the sort of people who watch my porn. I don't have this artificially positive attitude to those people because I'm stupid and I haven't paid attention. It's because I have paid attention and I've become friends with some of these people, and I've discovered that my better customers, by and large, express a great deal of compassion and empathy and understanding. So they will often say things like, I really hope you enjoy this. If you don't like the way the scene that I've written goes, by all means change it. I want you to have a good time. This is just such a normal thing that I do think in future I want to push back against the idea that I am somehow living in fairyland, because actually I am a professional with 21 years of experience in porn, and my experience of my customers, my fellow models and of my fellow producers has been almost universally positive. And that's not naivety, that's experience. But I don't manage to make that point, really, I don't think.
I'm sorry, we're talking about stuff that I've not thought about before, so I'm sorry if I'm a little slow. I'm just trying to think.
I don't think you're slow.
Okay,
I think you're crafty.
Do you?
I do. I think you're solving you're trying to hit two birds with one stone with almost every single answer to every question. You're very good at it. But,
Thank you. I've never really had an argument before, so thank you.
But I do think that's what you're doing.
Okay, I mean, I might be. I want to represent what I actually think accurately, like truthfully, and it's really easy to do that with stuff you've thought through a lot before.
Is it?
I hope so. I mean,
yes,
I'm trying to think, like, if a sort of average person instinctively kind of knows what's right, like, I mean, I just think, yeah, I think most people.
What person are you thinking? What country are we talking? Like, the average like Russian guy or Chinese guy or Afghani guy or like what are we talking about? There's entire cultures where they don't give a fuck about what the woman on the screen is feeling as a rule, as a point of pride.
I think who I'm thinking of is you, because you're the example that you've given. Like, you stopped watching porn because you weren't sure if people in it were okay or not.
But I'm not asking about me. I'm asking to extrapolate. And I'm asking you to look at this backwards. Where you are defining whether the porn is concerning first. And I'm asking about how attuned to the act. Because when I watch most porn, I am surprised that men find it arousing. Because I see, ooh, oh, your cock is so big. Oh, and it doesn't seem convincing at all.
I wish I'd asked him, what porn are you watching? Because this is not what I'm seeing. I suspect that he was watching free stuff on Pornhub, and I really wish I challenged that, because what I'm talking about when I talk about porn is the porn that is behind paywalls, created by boutique producers or model creators, and he is, I think, talking about a completely different type of porn, which I do not actually think is okay. And I wish that I'd asked him some questions about that, because I think we could have possibly had a more fruitful discussion if we had established that what he was talking about was not the sort of porn that I make or that any of my peers make or that ethical producers make. Next time someone starts saying stuff like this about the porn they've seen, I am going to point out that this is only one type of porn, and they're kind of watching potentially kind of the worst type, because even if the original video was a good video, they're probably just watching a clip from it that some pirate has re-uploaded. So yeah, I should have done that, and I didn't.
At all. It seems totally fake. And the idea of like a college student being like, yeah, fuck yeah, she's so hot. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, are you retarded? So to me, I'm already disturbed by the lack of attunement or empathetic response to porn. I don't know that I'll take the position that it actually makes it worse. It might, but so I'm asking. There's two. You have conflicting like goals. Like obviously you want people to care about the well-being of porn performers, but you also want people to continue to purchase porn. And I'm suggesting that these two may be in conflict with each
Yeah,
other.
I can see the logic. So you're saying like I want people to understand that we're human beings and you shouldn't make laws over our heads without us being consulted. But also I don't need everyone
No.
to No?
No, I'm not. You don't want porn actresses who in distress to be ignored.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't.
But you also want people to buy porn. And it may be that if you are actually attuned to the distress of porn actresses, that you don't buy porn, and actors. That if you're attuned to the distress of porn performers, that may cause you to stop purchasing porn, as it has to me.
Yeah, or you might get into a situation where, like me, you really prefer to watch the porn of performers you know, or at least that you think you know, because I think that's one of the reasons OnlyFans has been so popular, is because
Yeah, but
it's
it's just part of the performance. It's just the.
I wish I got to finish that point, because what I wanted to say was that people, or at least a decent proportion of customers, and OnlyFans demonstrates this, is they really like feeling as though they know the performer. Because, I mean, I think there are many reasons they like it, but one of the reasons is I think they find it really reassuring. And obviously that performer might be misrepresenting herself, sure, but the fact that people like it suggests to me that a lot of customers don't want to overly objectify the women they're watching in porn. They do want to know she's okay. They do want to know that after she shoots her morning of content, she's going to go out for lunch with her mum or whatever. I think that is just the case, and I am going to try to make that point, but I don't think I make it as strongly as I would have liked to.
You've expanded the performance to lunches and
I understand the idea, but what I mean is that even if it's just an illusion of knowing the performer, that seems to make customers feel more comfortable. And I think one of the reasons it makes them feel more comfortable is that because if they feel like they know more, they feel reassured that the performers are okay.
No. Yeah.
Yes, and that is why the reason why kink.com started including those bits
Yeah.
is because some of the performers are not okay. The only reason to have a disclaimer with the performer insisting they are okay is if some percentage of them are not, and you need them to cover that up.
I don't agree with you about that, because one of the reasons that I sometimes shoot these videos afterwards, of my own volition, I don't think I work with any companies for whom it's a kind of obligatory thing.
But why would anybody make it obligatory if the performers are always okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely, agreed, yeah. So I don't work with anyone who makes it obligatory, so what I'm going to describe here is a slightly different situation, but I do shoot... Sorry, why what?
Why describe a different situation? You just said I'm wrong about the point.
I said I disagreed. I disagreed. The reason being that I have an example of when I do disclaimer. I mean, they're not. I do videos after the main video sometimes, and I know why I do it. And it's not because I'm sometimes not okay. It's
Not
because
just because you're not okay. I'm saying the only reason anyone does disclaimers is because we know sometimes the performer in general may not be okay. Some of them aren't okay.
yeah, I don't agree with that. Like I
You think all performers in porn are okay?
no,
Period.
that's not what I'm disagreeing with. I'm disagreeing with the idea that the only reason to make a kind of video disclaimer would be because
I'm not talking about
okay.
I'm not talking about the logic that goes into the decision. I'm saying if it were true that porn actors were always okay, there would be no disclaimers.
I think that's not true, because I think some stuff that is potentially dangerous, for example, let me think if I can think of an example. Yeah, okay, so I can think of an example. Like, when I shoot the hardest BDSM I ever do, there is like potential risk. So stuff like caning, if you did it really hard and in the wrong place, you could potentially permanently scar someone.
But if there's risk, that means that some of the performers are not okay.
It
Some
means
percentage of
that
the time it's going to go badly.
it means that potentially they couldn't be okay. Like potentially something bad could happen. Whether
So
or not
there's a lot of porn being made. So if 1% of the
Yep.
time it goes badly, that means sometimes it goes badly.
yes, yeah, totally.
So I
But
don't
also-
think you get to making disclaimers without also definitely having some cases where it actually has gone badly.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. What I'm saying is that I think also it could be really sensible to shoot disclaimers because of the potential for stuff to go wrong. Even if anecdotally that hadn't happened yet, I think it would still be a sensible thing to do. So, for example, when I've shot very hard BDSM scenes, what I like to do is I like to make a video, maybe a few days afterwards, maybe a few hours afterwards, about like how much I enjoyed the experience and how like I'm healing up and stuff, because I feel like I know that it delivers reassurance to the customers who've watched the main video that actually it is okay, I am okay, and I did enjoy it. And that's not because sometimes I haven't enjoyed it or sometimes it hasn't been okay. That's because I could have not been okay. And the last thing they've seen of me in the main video is potentially me crying.
But I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm saying
I understand.
the practice of making these disclaimer videos
Yeah,
only exists because of the potential
yeah.
and therefore definite occurrence that some porn performers are not okay.
Yes, I agree with all of that except for the definite occurrence thing. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to use examples of myself just because I'm being narcissistic. It's just that I can speak with authority about myself. So what I'm saying is...
You can't possibly take the position that all porn performers are okay.
No, I don't. No, I'm not
So
saying that.
some porn performers are not okay.
Probably not. No, probably not.
You're not willing to say, yes, this is the case. You will only go to probably. Some porn performers have horrific, traumatizing experiences.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure it's true.
So the viewer knows that.
Yeah.
Because the viewer knows that, they are concerned on some level, to some degree, depending on their level of empathy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To assuage the viewer's fears, disclaimer videos are introduced. Therefore, disclaimer videos are the direct result of the truth that some porn performers are not okay. And kink.com, and anyone else, including you, who makes a disclaimer video, is reacting to the sense of like, and these values are in conflict, of, well, I don't want bad things to happen to porn performers, but neither does the client. And we have to convince the client that nothing bad has happened.
Yeah, like I think I'm going to repeat myself. I think I agree with you about everything except that I don't think the only reason for making a disclaimer will be because of stuff that's happened that's bad in the past. I think we also make those disclaimer videos because we want to reassure people that the things that could potentially go wrong.
Do they have disclaimer videos after Hollywood movies? Slasher movies, where women are screaming and blood is spraying out of their heads and they're getting dismembered and chucked into meat grinders?
We don't.
I'm wrong about that. I'm so annoyed. We do. At the end of any movies that have got animals in them, it always says, don't worry, like no animals were harmed. We literally have disclaimers at the end of Hollywood movies for that specific thing. We don't have it about people because I think we've just all agreed that we understand that the people in movies are professional actors. But we do have some concerns about animals, and so yes, we demand that those fears are assuaged with a disclaimer at the end of the video, and that would have been such a powerful point to make. Then I would have been like Richard Dawkins, and I don't make that point. I agree with him when I should not have agreed with him. But I'm glad I'm sticking to my guns here because I know that I make videos specifically after I shoot with Eric Kane, because it's the hardest stuff I do. I always make a video afterwards for my custom video customers, just because I know sometimes, because they've not seen me do stuff that's that hard before, I know sometimes they feel guilty for having asked me to do it. So it's really important to me that I reassure them that I had a really lovely time, because they don't know me well enough to be able to necessarily judge that just from watching the video. And so I do have a counterexample that sometimes just the most responsible thing to do is a disclaimer video, not because sometimes stuff goes wrong, because actually I've never had a shoot with Eric Kane, for example, that I didn't enjoy. It's not that. It's just that it's an intense scene, and I think it's really nice for the customer to get some reassurance from the real me, not the me playing a character. So I'm glad that I'm making that point. It would have just been really, really powerful if I'd remembered about the animal disclaimer in Hollywood movies, but I did not.
Because the audience knows that the actors are okay.
They don't know that. No, because sometimes
They believe that they are.
Yeah,
The audience,
like,
you're never worried. Unless you hear a story like Uma Thurman. While you're watching Kill Bill, you were not worried that Uma Thurman had a back injury.
No, we just thought we were like watching a great professional film, and then
When
later
people
on,
watch your content, they are worried. And they're not worried because of what they're seeing on screen. They're worried because they know that some porn performers are basically being raped on camera.
That's not true. Specifically with my work, they're worried because the genre that I'm shooting is very intense some of the time. That's why they're worried.
Or coerced, or agreeing to something because they feel they have to, or whatever, having some horrific experience. They know that is happening in some percentage of porn videos. And so now to sell the video, you have to say, this isn't one of those videos. But saying that has no bearing on whether it's true.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's probably one of the reasons that we, as consumers, we really like the kind of interviews with Hollywood actors, like when they're promoting the film after it's been shot. Like we like to hear kind of funny stories from the set and how well everyone got on, or how there wasn't, like some people didn't get on. We obviously like it, and I guess one of the things we like is the kind of reassurance that the film we're enjoying watching was a good experience for everyone. And I think that's a perfectly human, normal reaction. And so of course people quite like to know, or at least empathetic people like to know, that the pornographers whose work they've watched were having a good time shooting it. Yes.
But that part isn't ethically concerning.
What part is ethically concerning?
That people want to hear from the people in the video. That's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is the implementation of disclaimers for the explicit purpose of covering up trauma and making people say, sometimes probably dishonestly, that they're fine.
Yes, and I mean, as I said, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone I work with who actually does this as a general rule. I don't think I'd work with anyone who insisted on it because it feels a little coercive. What I'm saying is that I, just as an individual performer, sometimes do them myself for a reason that's different from what you're saying. It's because I want to reassure people, not so that they'll buy the video, not to convince them about something that's not true. I want to convince them of the thing that is true, which is that I had a really lovely time doing a video where you might not be able to see that I'm having a really good time. And that is an alternative reason why you might want to shoot that content. So I don't accept your argument that the existence of these disclaimer videos has to be evidence that stuff is going wrong behind the scenes in anything like a high percentage of cases. No, that's fair. I don't think the existence of disclaimer videos of the type that I've just described making myself means that it's because
You're doing it to set yourself apart from porn producers who harm people. If there were no porn producers who harm people, or people who self-harm, you wouldn't need to make the video.
No, that's not true, because BDSM doesn't just happen in porn films, BDSM happens in life.
Oh, I'm so glad I said that. I'm so glad that occurred to me. That specifically, kink.com is working in BDSM, and specifically, I am working in BDSM. And the reason that I think, I can't speak for kink.com, but the reason I do disclaimers specifically for my BDSM work is because it's BDSM, and we all acknowledge, if we know anything about it at all, that you are playing with some rather extreme things, both physically and psychologically. And so just as aftercare is important in BDSM for some people some of the time because of these intense experiences, delivering something rather like aftercare to the customers who've just watched that can also be important. So I'm very, very glad I have remembered that BDSM does not just exist in the porn world. Thank goodness. This is, I think, one of my other favourite moments in this debate, that I'm just saying what I actually think, and I think it's quite a strong argument. So I'll remember that.
Happens in life, and anyone who knows anything about BDSM will know that sometimes people will try stuff that they didn't like, and so I want to reassure my customer who's watching my movie that this wasn't one of those occasions where I tried something that I didn't like. Because quite often
How the hell do they know that you're telling the truth?
Well, of course they don't. Of course they don't.
But that's the problem with doing the disclaimers.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't think that's the answer for making porn more ethical.
You're in this conversation, and by making these videos, you are trying to get the male viewer to be less empathetic.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You are.
I'm inviting them to empathise with me.
I'm inviting them to empathise more. That's what I'm doing. Because in so much of my porn, and this is not just me, but many of us, we are constantly trying to humanise ourselves so that people relate to us more. Because I want them to understand that I'm doing something that I love, not because that will help me sell the work, but because if they believe I'm just doing it because I'm just sort of disgusting or I don't care what I do at work, that represents women badly. I want them to understand that I'm a woman who is acting out of my interest for this subject.
No, you're telling them what they should be reading. You're saying, if you were watching me and you thought I was in distress, I wasn't. I'm fine.
I don't think that's what I'm saying at all. No. Because
if they get the idea that if they were watching your scene and they thought you didn't like what was happening, you want to reassure them that you did like it.
Oh yes, but I might have been in distress in the actual scene. I was in distress, but I was in consensual distress that I was enjoying.
Yeah, but if they thought you weren't, you're just correcting them and saying, next time you think I'm in non-consensual distress, you don't want to.
No, I don't think that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's the only thing that would give them pause. Well, what else are you reassuring them about?
Specifically, I'm reassuring them that this time, this was amazing. Like, I don't want them to extrapolate from that, but next time when I'm doing something else, I will have also had a wonderful time. It's very specific to the video that I've just shot. So I'm telling them.
Do you see how the effect of that is that if every time a man sees a video of a woman who seems to be in distress, he then sees a video of her supposedly retracting all emotional expressions and actually.
Yeah.
I think I'm just trying to get you to acknowledge or tell me how I'm wrong that these two are in conflict with each other. Wanting the man to buy videos and wanting the man to be empathetic. Those are against each other.
I agree with you that I would not want to shoot one of these videos after everything I did, because if I had to say after every video that I did that I'd had an amazing time, I would be lying some of the time, and I don't want to do that. I want to specifically, if I've shot something hard that I've really loved.
So when you say it, it's really true.
I want to invite my customer, when I've really loved something, to empathise with the enjoyment as well as the fact that I was acting distressed because in the moment I was distressed.
Do you think that these two motivations are in conflict?
No.
No, like what I would like from my customers who are watching my BDSM porn, for example, is a lot of them, the reason they're watching porn instead of just doing it is because they've not found the opportunity to do these specific acts with a willing partner. So what they're doing is they're trying to have a sex life sort of by proxy, I guess. And what I'd like them to have is not just the experience of the kind of sex scene, but also the experience of You know when you've had really good sex with someone and like you're sort of coming down. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, you're calming down.
And you're like lying in bed together and you're talking about, oh my god, it was so hot when you did that. I love that.
I've never had a conversation.
Okay. I do this a lot. I'm very I like to be quite specific afterwards about what I really liked because I think that's a good way to get more of what you really liked. So when I shoot a porn film, I think I'm trying to give my customers a little bit of that experience. They're not just having the high of the orgasm, they're also having to come down afterwards and, oh, that was my favourite bit. Because I hope what that will do is if they're lucky enough to get into a BDSM relationship in real life, in later life, I'm hoping that might encourage them to kind of ask afterwards, was that good for you? Because they've heard me volunteering that information. So what I guess I hope I'm doing, and it's rather a difficult thing to do, I think, is I'm trying to sort of model for them how a good BDSM relationship might actually go in real life. And I can't pretend that is something I'm probably doing perfectly, but I think the attempt is worth it. I think it's worth trying.
Are you saying that you see no conflict between I want men to buy porn and I want men to be empathetic towards women?
Yeah, no, I don't see a conflict. I don't.
So if we took a knob, we could turn up the empathy of man.
Mm-hmm.
All men. Make them more empathetic, more attuned, more considerate, more thoughtful, more introspective.
Yeah.
You turn that knob up, you're saying that your income doesn't drop,
I think more men would pay for their porn if they were more empathetic.
so your income would go up.
I'm really glad I made that point because I genuinely believe it. And he's going to try to argue this for some time, and I'm not going to move my stance because I just think they would consume the same amount of porn and they would behave slightly better as a group towards the people in the porn. That's just what I think. And I don't think I moved from that position, and I don't think I should move from that position, so I'm quite happy about that.
I think it might, because a lot of men are consuming stuff on Pornhub that they're not paying for, so they're not making a kind of personal connection with the individual performers, and they seem to be okay with that.
What if they can't afford to pay for porn?
I mean, I'm not particularly interested in kind of blaming men for that, but I have to say...
I'm not trying to get you to, I'm asking you, do you think porn consumption goes up or down as empathy goes up?
I think it might go up.
So across the board, men will watch more porn if they are empathetic, thoughtful, considerate.
I think they might watch the same amount of porn, but I think they pay for it instead of like looking at pirated copies.
So you think that the billions of hours of porn that are consumed would all be paid for, and that porn would become the highest earning industry on the planet?
Well,
if the same amount of porn is consumed and it's all paid for, I don't even know if there's enough money on earth to make that happen.
No, it's too hard to work this out, isn't it? Because I don't know what else men would be doing if they became more empathetic. They might all be climbing mountains more or something, so they might be quite busy.
Well, I'm asking.
That's the problem with social science generally. It's so hard, isn't it, to separate one social phenomenon from everything else going on in society at the same time. Because if we made men more empathetic, it's not that the only thing men do is watch porn. So if they became more empathetic, there are other things they might start doing a lot of, like voluntary work, for example. And so you can't isolate what men would do in this situation the way he's trying to make me isolate it. It's not really possible, but...
The billions of hours of porn that are consumed would all be paid for, and that porn would become the highest earning industry on the planet.
Well,
if the same amount of porn is consumed and it's all paid for, I don't even know if there's enough money on earth to make that happen.
No, it's too hard to work this out, isn't it? Because I don't know what else men would be doing if they became more empathetic. They might all be climbing mountains more or something, so they might be quite busy.
Well, I'm asking
it's too complicated.
I'm asking specifically if you think that their concerns about the well-being of people in porn would be a barrier to consuming it.
I don't think so. I think they might behave differently. So I think they might send more emails to individual models and say, I'd like to watch your porn. Like, who do you enjoy watching with? I will, who do you enjoy working with? Sorry, I'm going to watch that. I think they might behave differently, but I don't think it would switch off their porn watching desires. And I don't think it should. I don't think it should because I don't think men should feel bad. I don't think anyone should feel bad about wanting to watch porn.
Do you think rape would increase or decrease?
Well, I was thinking about this briefly this morning, and so I'm sorry, it's a rather new thought to me, but I'm thinking about the countries with very high rape statistics. I think quite often probably don't have brilliant access to porn.
I'm asking about empathy. If we increase empathy, does rape go up or down?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant if we increase porn. Right, okay.
No.
Rape would go down.
Okay.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
If we decrease empathy, rape goes up?
Yeah, because we see it in war, don't we? When people are traumatized, they're less empathetic and then they rape more, yeah.
But porn, you're saying if we increase empathy, porn goes down. So if we decrease empathy... Oh, no, sorry, you said if we increase empathy, porn goes up. If we decrease empathy, are you saying...
No. If we increase empathy, I don't think porn goes up. I think people might pay for it rather than... No. So I think porn might stay the same if we increase empathy.
Does it stay the same if we decrease empathy?
Does it stay the same if we decrease empathy? Well, people would pay for it less.
People have no empathy. How much porn do they consume compared to how much they consume now? Everyone's a psychopath.
I mean, I don't know, because I don't know how much porn...
Zero morals.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the people I know who are higher on the psychopathy spectrum don't seem to watch more porn. I'd really want to look at some statistics. Like, I just.
I have learned this from Howell, of just knowing what I don't know, knowing that to answer some questions we need to go and look at the data. Once upon a time, I'd have tried to answer this. Now, I know there's no point answering this because out there somewhere is data on this, and it would be much better to go and look up the data than to speculate. So thank you, Howell, for teaching me that.
I'm just guessing. I don't think psychopathic people would watch more porn. But I'm guessing.
Okay, so it feels like you're saying that not only do you think men should not worry about the performers in the porn they watch.
I don't think they should worry overly. Like I think if they enjoy watching porn, I don't think they should stop watching porn altogether out of worry. I think there are some things they can maybe do to maximise their chances of watching porn from people who are happy doing it. But like, I mean, it sounds like not watching porn has been fine for you, but if you stopped watching porn out of ethical concerns and you were suffering as a result of that, I would be telling you, maybe you shouldn't worry so much, maybe you should be watching the stuff that's giving you pleasure. Yeah. I think I really feel like men who are watching porn deserve compassion. And
But don't the women in the porn deserve compassion?
yeah, of course, yeah.
What
Yeah,
if my
I do.
compassion leads me not to watch it?
I think that's fine. I think you've made a completely legitimate choice. What I'm saying is
I
if
don't
you...
think you do think that. I don't
No,
think you
I do.
I don't think that
No, I do
is
think that.
compatible with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, why? Why not? I don't need everyone to watch porn.
Because if my choice is legitimate, then I'm right.
No.
No, I don't think that. Like, because I don't think that necessarily has to be right or wrong. My choice to do BDSM is legitimate, but it's neither right nor wrong, I don't think. Your choice to watch porn is legitimate.
My choice to not watch porn is based on an ethical framework
Yeah?
that you find invalid.
No, I don't find it valid. All I'm saying is,
You have to.
no, specifically what I'm saying, I just want to repeat this because it's important to me, is that I think it's completely, absolutely legitimate for you to make that choice. It probably makes you feel more comfortable if you started to feel uncomfortable or conflicted about watching
That's
porn.
not my framework, though. The framework is why is it making me uncomfortable?
What I'm
I
saying
don't use chopsticks because it hurts the trees. If I'd say that, is that legitimate? No? That's stupid. You wouldn't be like, that's totally legitimate. That's totally legitimate reasons.
Yeah,
why
because
it's
we don't think that plants have, like, nerves, right? Do we? We don't, do we?
At this point, my brain's been working so hard. I no longer know if generally we believe plants have nerves or not. The answer is no. We don't think plants have nerves. I think. I paid very little attention in biology class.
No.
So
But
you
people,
disagree with the framework.
I mean, I think so. I have to think a bit more carefully about it, but I think I disagree with that, yeah. But people have feelings, and so you are from a position of empathy, I think.
Is it
Not
empathy or is it narcissistic projection of thinking it's empathy, but really it's just about myself? And what I should do is find some ethical porn creators like yourself and just, make sure I'm sourcing my cocoa beans from, fair trade.
I don't think you should do anything. I don't think anyone... I don't like the idea of people feeling a whole load of responsibilities.
But that's what I'm saying, is that we do want men to feel responsible because they fucking rape women if they don't.
Yeah, we want
So
them... Yeah, we
you're
definitely...
simultaneously saying you want men to feel responsible. Unless they're about to buy porn, then they shouldn't
No.
feel responsible, so they can give you money. Do you see?
I see what you're saying. I don't agree with it, because I think there's a kind of sliding scale of how much responsibility we should feel for various things we do in our lives. And I'm thinking that when you're consuming something, you're pretty low on this level of responsibility. When you're a shareholder in
Child
something,
porn.
What about it?
You don't mean that. If I was consuming child porn, you'd tell me to stop.
Because it's a crime.
I would think you have less responsibility if you are consuming child porn than if you are creating child
But you
porn.
would still tell me I would assume you would tell me to stop. Am I
What
right?
I'm saying is that there is
Okay,
a...
if I said I'm watching child porn and I feel bad about it, would you say?
Yeah, of course. I think you should. I think you shouldn't.
You think I shouldn't watch child porn?
Well, yeah. Like, I don't think if you feel bad about it, like you with porn, you should stop for sure.
Well, okay, so you think I should stop because I feel bad about it, but not because I actually have responsibility? Like you're saying you think I should stop for the same reason?
I don't think that consumers of any entertainment should feel a massive sense of responsibility. No.
Okay. Do you?
Some, yes. So if you suddenly see a movie in porn or in a documentary where someone gets punched in the face, and like everyone just carries on,
Yeah.
then I feel like you can have a little bit of responsibility as a consumer.
I know,
to
but
be
the
like,
question is child porn the equivalent of children being punched in the face? Is it ethical to watch child porn if you
No.
don't feel bad about it?
no.
Okay, consuming child porn is unethical.
Because
Because
as a
it's a
society,
crime.
we have agreed that people under the age of consent, they can't consent.
Yes,
And
but,
so
but we're negotiating the societal mores right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to negotiate this with you. So if people are responsible for their consumption in that case,
Yeah, because it's a crime.
no, you think it should be a crime because you think it's wrong.
Okay, that is complicated. But, like,
It's not that complicated.
yeah, no, it's
just-
complicated because it's a complicated equivalent, because what's happening in porn, in like legal porn that we're talking about here, you are watching stuff that is legal to do in real life. Like,
Presumably.
yes. Like,
Maybe.
you can't, you can't publish on a platform, like the platforms I publish my porn on, I can't put up anything where I'm doing an activity that isn't legal to do in your private life. There are
I mean,
no
you
exceptions
could
to
be
this.
you could be sex trafficking. You could be drugging
you're-
people. No, but we wouldn't know that. I'm saying that we wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
you wouldn't know that, but you're not allowed to. Like, that's
Sure.
a crime. But like having sex with a child is not legal, and so de facto it's illegal to have porn, to make porn of it or watch porn of it, because it's an illegal activity. Like, that's evidence of a crime. So I don't think it's really fair to compare child abuse images
No.
to stuff that you're allowed to do in
The
real life.
comparison I'm making is I mean, they could just change the law to make it so that you're not allowed to even have sex on camera. I'm not asking a question about the laws. I'm asking a question about the responsibility of the consumer. Do they have responsibility or not? When I ask you about porn in general, you say they don't have responsibility. When I ask you about child porn or Quentin Tarantino movies, you say they do have responsibility. And I'm
No, I'm not. No, I don't say that. I said I stopped watching Quentin Tarantino movies.
Okay.
I'm not saying that everyone should stop watching Tarantino movies.
Should
That-
they?
No, I don't think so. I think that's asking
They should
too
keep
much.
watching
Of a,
them?
I think that's asking too much of a consumer. I think that the
To
studios.
not watch. What if the studio says, well, he makes too much money, he can do whatever he wants?
I think that the people hiring him have more responsibility over what he does on
so
set
say they
than
abdicate,
the
they openly
consumers.
abdicate their responsibility. They say, well, he's Quentin Tarantino, he gets to do what he wants.
I'm going to keep giving the same answer. I don't think a consumer has anywhere near as much responsibility as the
I'm
people
not
on set.
asking for a comparative statement. I'm asking if they have responsibility or not. And I'm saying your answer changes depending on whether the answer leads to people questioning their porn consumption or not. You seem to not want the question
No,
to be
I don't
raised.
think that's. No, I don't think that's true. I'm saying that whether you're a consumer of any type of entertainment,
Yeah.
has a little bit of responsibility. Like, a little bit of responsibility. People who are actually producing the entertainment have a great deal more
To
responsibility.
whatever extent the consumer has responsibility, there is a logical conflict between wanting men to buy more porn and wanting men to have empathy or concern for women.
I would say that I'm not trying to make men buy more porn or watch more porn. But I don't make that point.
No, I don't agree with that. And
I see.
I don't want men to consume more porn.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
if they had higher empathy, they might pay for it more. I'm not saying that they should
You
watch
don't
more
want
of
them
it.
to, you don't want them to stop watching it.
I mean, I don't care if quite a lot of them stop watching it. I don't need that many customers. Like,
But
I'm
you
not.
see, but that's problematic if you're ethical. Like, if you just came on the podcast and you were like, I'm here to get people to pay me to make fetish videos, which is increasingly what I believe your motivation is, then it would just be like, okay, fine. Like, you don't have, if it's a commercial for your fetish videos, then you don't have to have a logical framework about ethics or
Sure.
anything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if it's not that, then I don't think what you're saying holds up, because
I wish I had challenged the idea that I was on his podcast to sell more of my porn, because, like, oh my God, I had an agenda being on his podcast. Specifically, I want to be seen in public debating this because I want it to open up opportunities for me specifically, or porn performers generally, to be invited into these debates, especially when the law is being changed. The idea that I'm trying to sell more of my porn from this appearance is just absurd, because at least as it stands, he has fewer followers than me anyway. So I would do better, in terms of promoting myself, I would do better just to make a video on my own YouTube, but also because the people who consume my free stuff, there isn't a very good conversion rate from people who watch your free stuff to people who will actually pay for your premium product. So yes, going on a massive podcast might mean that I sell more work, but honestly, in my experience, that has not been the case. Like, I've been on primetime Channel 4 documentaries about my work twice, and I didn't see any increase in my sales at all. So I wish I'd pushed back on that, because I don't like the sort of inference that I'm there for some sort of cynical porn selling reason. But it doesn't seem like an important enough point to have challenged him on when we're already like knee deep in an argument.
you're saying if men lost all their empathy, they would watch less porn, and if they had more empathy, they would watch the same amount of porn, but they would pay for it.
No, I think if they lost their empathy, I think they watched the same amount of porn. That's what I said. I think.
So, okay, so you see
I
no
think-
connection between empathy and porn use and
No.
empathy in men.
No.
I don't see a connection between how much they watch. Like, I might be wrong about that. I mean, I'd be interested to see some data on
But
it.
you yourself said you won't watch porn by people you don't know because you are empathetic for the exact same reason as me.
No, I didn't say that. I said that I prefer to. Like, what I would tend to watch more of, for sure, is of my friends. Like, it's not like I'm banning myself from watching stuff with people I don't know at all. Like, I don't want to be that absolutist at all. I would definitely prefer to watch stuff with my friends in it.
Because you're concerned for the people in the other videos because you don't really know if they're okay.
Yeah, because I don't know them. Like, so I think it's
You don't know if they're
perfect.
okay.
No, I don't know them, so I have no idea if what they're doing is stuff that they really like or just
You
are
don't
okay
know-
with.
You don't know if they're okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're okay.
You don't know that they're okay. You don't know.
I'm not sure.
And you don't know.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think if I did want to watch a whole load of porn with people I didn't know in it, I think that would be absolutely fine.
I'm glad I didn't let him change my statement. I didn't know that I'd be someone who was able to withstand that, and at least in this level of debate, which I can see it could be a lot more acrimonious than it is, I'm glad to know at least that in a situation like this, I'm capable of just sticking to my opinion. I'd be interested to see how much more pressure it would take before I change my mind, because I hope I would never change my mind, but I don't want to assume that about myself yet.
Be fine.
But you prefer to watch it with people you do know because they know that they're okay.
Yeah, and I know that they're actively enjoying it. Not just that they're okay, that they're doing exactly what they want to do, and I like that.
So now we're getting away. It's not about empathy. It's about you won't get off to it if they're not having fun.
No, I just like to know. I just like to know it. I just
Out
find
of
it
concern or out of pleasure seeking?
just find it quite reassuring.
Out of concern.
I guess
You
so.
see what I'm saying?
I mean,
So you're saying that
yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
you approach porn with a baseline of moderate concern, and then you want that concern to be assuaged by knowing the people in the porn so you don't have to worry.
I mean, I have the luxury of that, I guess, so I can afford to
Regardless
do
of
that.
practicality, I'm saying just ethically, this is your approach to porn consumption.
Yeah, I like it. That's my preference. Yeah. I don't think that's necessary. Like, at all. I'm sorry that... I know that I just want to say, like... I know I might be kind of annoying to argue with, because I just think we're talking about really complex stuff. And one thing I hate about watching stuff like... I don't know if you've ever watched the Whatever podcast. Have you watched it?
Yeah, my friend Lav was on it.
Okay, one of the things I hate about it is that, like, you're not allowed to have any nuance, you're not allowed to have any kind of complexity to your argument. And I think these just are complicated topics.
I don't think that you're taking a complex position, though. I think you're evading.
Okay, well, I'm not evading.
You are.
I mean, I can see then why you would find it really difficult to believe like a porn performer saying she's having fun, because if you don't start from a point
It's not
of
that I
view
don't believe
of...
that you're having fun. It's that I think you're saying things that directly contradict each other.
Yeah,
It's not about believing you.
yeah, like, I don't think that's true. Like, it feels consistent to me. I think my argument is consistent. What I'm saying is, as a consumer of any kind of entertainment, you have limited responsibility. Whether you're talking about fair trade cocoa beans or whatever, you can have some responsibility.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that there should be a limit to responsibility.
You're not saying that.
No, I'm saying that there is a directional problem where I want men to think about the well-being of the actresses in the porn they watch.
You want them to.
That is one value,
Yep.
and that is in conflict with I want men to watch porn and buy porn.
Oh, are you being me now?
I'm saying that if anybody holds both of these values, they are against each other. There is some tension between them.
Yes, I can see why you think that. That's not how I feel about my position,
I
because...
see that. I know. That's what I'm saying. That is logically. So I'm not saying that I think that you are like lying about your experience watching porn. I'm saying I don't think it makes sense to say that there is no tension between those two positions.
No, I understand. I see your position. Thank you for clarifying it. That's not how I feel. Like, I have these two positions. I am comfortable producing the porn that I produce. I'm comfortable that by and large it seems to have a positive effect on my customers who I actually have some interaction with.
But your personal experience doesn't really have any bearing on whether those two positions in general are in conflict.
Yeah, like, what I think with personal experience is, of course, it's the thing that we're all expert in. So what I like to think, I don't think I'm incredibly special. I'm just thinking, if this is my experience, there's a decent chance that there's quite a lot of people who have a similar experience. Like, that's...
And that is something I feel really strongly about, that if you have enough anecdotes, it becomes data. And so the fact that my experience of porn is positive and that my experience of my customers seems to be that I don't think I am harming them by producing porn for them, that is a small drop in the ocean of data. It's a data point and it's valid. It doesn't mean that I can extrapolate from that everyone's experience will be the same as mine, but it is certainly counter to the argument that a lot of anti-porn people would be making, that like all porn is basically damaging. And so I do think it's a legitimate point to be arguing from, because if I exist and this is my experience, I think it's perfectly likely there are other people, or in fact I know, because I've met some of these people, I know that there are other people in a similar situation to me, so I don't think that our experience of porn should just be swept under the rug by people who don't agree with its existence.
It's not because I want to tell you about this remarkable...
But that doesn't matter. I don't think that has bearing on whether these two positions are in conflict or not.
Okay, yeah, like, I think it does, because I think that the way we make decisions about how we live is often based on what our experience of walking through the world has been. That just seems quite a...
But the decision you make is to approach porn carefully with ethical concern, with a pre-existing concern about the people in the porn.
Yeah.
And you prefer, for reassurance, you prefer to watch more ethically sourced porn than average porn.
Yeah, and I think that's legitimate. I think your choice to not watch it at all is legitimate, and I think it's also legitimate if you are someone who thinks less deeply about this kind of stuff. I think it's also legitimate to just watch it and assume everyone's okay unless you find out something to the contrary. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I
When
agree.
you say unless you find out something to the contrary, you're smuggling in a level of concern.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think that's
my
okay.
point is, I'm not saying it's not okay. I'm saying that the problem is that my problem with your position is that you're smuggling in this level of concern without acknowledging that the lever that moves that level of concern up and down is empathy.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay, so if you didn't care about whether the person in the porn is okay, I don't think you would prefer watching your friend's porn. I think you wouldn't give a shit. You
Yeah, I
just
think
watch
that's yeah.
whatever.
I think that's probably true. Yeah, I just don't think everyone has to be like me.
I'm not saying they do.
So I think I've said this already. I just think that it's okay to make your choice. I think it's okay to make my choice, and it's okay to watch it and just assume everyone's okay, or not really think about it much.
I am coming to the conclusion that my position in this debate and in many debates is just quite strongly libertarian. That I'm really not comfortable with trying to make a whole lot of rules for how other people live. As long as you do not believe that you are harming anyone else, and as long as you've got no evidence that what you're doing is harming other people, I just think generally getting on with your life and doing the things that give you joy is a completely reasonable thing to do. And it's not really until I started debating with people who don't hold such a libertarian perspective that I realised that this isn't necessarily the way your average person thinks. I think I might be quite a lot more libertarian than average. Which isn't something I necessarily knew about myself. Though it makes sense in a reaction against growing up in an authoritarian religion, of course. And I think that's one of the reasons I feel it so strongly.
It's not okay to watch it and assume everyone's okay if you see someone get their finger cut off.
No, I think that's true.
Okay, so you don't think it's okay to just watch it and think everything's okay.
So
you actually
extreme.
do want the consumer to be tracking and monitoring whether the people in the video are okay while they are jerking off.
I mean,
The man watching the porn,
as I
he's
said
jerking off,
earlier,
and he's also supposed to be thinking at some level, not zero, but at some level, are these people okay?
I mean, I just think most people naturally would have that level of concern sort of built in.
This is a descriptive statement about how you think people act already, but I'm asking about a prescriptive statement about what you think people should be doing.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
what you think they should be doing is there's some moving and unspecified level of concern that you want them to have.
I don't really like making prescriptive statements about how other people should do things.
But you are doing political advocacy about porn laws, so you are making prescriptive statements. And you're arguing with mine, which is also a form of making prescriptive statements.
As I said earlier, I mean, I don't really feel like I'm doing advocacy. Maybe
you came in talking about laws.
I feel like pornographers should get to have a voice as well when we're talking about porn laws. I'm not sure if that really counts as. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to look up the dictionary definition of advocacy.
Okay, what I meant by advocacy is, are you expressing your views about political decisions being made about porn in your country or other countries for the purpose of changing the general, throwing your 2 cents into the river of public opinion and
providing some what feels to me like providing some balance.
That's
obviously
advocacy.
that's a subjective thing. Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, yeah. So in that case, then I would say
that
you're
you
right.
are making prescriptive statements and taking prescriptive positions.
I'm glad to discover that I am capable of conceding a point. I wasn't sure if I would. I thought I might get really irritable and stubborn and just not be prepared to change my opinion on anything. And I think his description of advocacy is perfectly fair, and by his definition, what I'm doing is advocacy, and that seems fine. So I was okay with saying that, and I'm just glad to know that about myself, because I was suspicious that I might just get really stubborn and angry in a situation like this. I mean, I'm not particularly proud of myself for not, because I don't think that would be reasonable, but I did have a hideous fear that I might just become kind of 10 years old and stubborn and cross again. So hooray that I'm not 10 years old. Well done me.
About how people should think about porn and how they should act about porn.
I don't think people generally. I think people with power and therefore people with responsibility, like the government, yes. People in general.
When I say that if a man sees a woman being murdered in a porn movie, he should report it and stop jerking off and call 911, because he does have some responsibility.
I agree with you.
Okay, so the question is how much responsibility?
Yes.
And this is the part where I think that you are being evasive.
I think very little responsibility, but in extreme examples. I mean, you obviously are aware that's a pretty extreme example of someone getting murdered in a porn movie. That's not something that's happening on a regular basis.
Men should have very little responsibility when they are masturbating to a video of a woman.
People. people should have limited responsibility when they're consuming any entertainment. Because they've got very limited power to change what they're watching. And with very little power comes not very much responsibility. I think I would generally...
It's very inspiring.
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've never thought that specifically before. So there's probably a lot of counterexamples to that. But I really don't think consumers should feel this huge level of responsibility for the performers they're watching, whether it's porn or not. I don't think... I know I can't talk for very much longer. I know I said I could only do a couple of hours, but I'll try to stick with it for a little bit longer because it's really interesting, as long as you're okay time-wise.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I do think it's really interesting that we seem to expect consumers to behave really differently when they're watching porn from when they're watching other kinds of entertainment. I've always found it very strange because, for example, like I can't pretend to die in a porn film. Not that I want to, but I can't. Like I can't have a gun in a porn film. There's a whole load of rules that I'm keeping to that mainstream film doesn't have to. And I think it's kind of strange because it's like the people making the laws are assuming that people become especially stupid when they're watching porn, that suddenly, because they're turned on, they won't be able to recognise that like murdering people is wrong, for example. So we understand when people watch a mainstream movie, lots of people might die in that movie, they might be shot in that movie. And we mostly, I know some very high censorship people would be like, yeah, we need to stop showing that, it's contributing to violence in society. Like, I don't think that. Generally, I don't think. But then when it's porn, our lawmakers do tend to kind of go for this sort of hypodermic syringe model. Oh my God, they'll watch the violent porn and then they'll start being violent. And I just think it's the same people. Like the people who are watching Fast and Furious are the same people who are watching porn. Why do we think they suddenly become so much stupider, like so much cruder, just because they're turned on? Because that's not my experience of what people are like when they're turned on.
What do you think the reason is?
I think
we have a different reaction.
I think because a lot of us have a sort of visceral reaction of distaste towards men who are aroused.
Period?
No, probably not. There's probably loads more, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, I think it's that. I think it's, oh my God, those gross men wanking. Like, they're dangerous. They're kind of disgusting. We should limit what they get to watch because they're basically kind of animals. Like, that's what I think. When I hear politicians talking about porn, they always talk about it as though it's only men watching it, and they always talk about it as though the men watching it have got something wrong with them, and I just don't think that.
Is that what you think I'm doing?
What?
That.
Oh, no, not at all, no. I mean, I don't think so. But I think that when I listen to the politicians who've been working on our Online Safety Act, talking specifically about porn, that's what I think they're doing. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing. But like I've watched these people, operate for years. So I've come to that conclusion. I don't want to make conclusions about you. Like I've only been talking to you for 2 hours, so I don't know yet. I'm going to listen to more of your interviews and find out more.
I think that there's something scary about thinking about your neighbor jerking off to videos of women being murdered.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's why snuff porn is illegal.
I'm glad I said that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because I think we do have
is it illegal?
a lot. Yes.
I don't know if it's illegal.
I'm really glad, but I think I've been slow in this interview to say it. I'm really glad that I'm talking about all the things that we're not allowed to do in porn and actually all the laws and rules that we are keeping to, because I don't think the anti-porn lobby has any idea how many hoops we are already jumping through. And I wish I'd made that point more strongly, but I'm at least glad that at the end of the interview I have brought this up.
Well, in the US. It's illegal to kill somebody, but you can jerk off to a video of somebody being murdered. You can possess a video of somebody being murdered.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, probably. But what you can't do is you can't shoot that. So
yeah, you can't kill people.
But you also can't, in porn, you can't pretend to kill someone and sell it.
Yeah.
Like, that's yeah, sorry, I didn't explain that very well. So, like, I can't pretend to die in a porn movie. And it's actually Visa and MasterCard, the payment processors that are kind of making those rules rather than our lawmakers, because they're sort of ahead of the game. But yeah, we're not allowed to do that.
So is it illegal, or just you lose your payment processors?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because obviously the payment processes are international, but law is different in different countries, and I think in your country the law about porn is different in different states. So I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure in America. But in the UK, yeah, like we have 2 laws that make that illegal. We've got the Obscene Publications Act, and we've got the extreme porn law. So we've got 2 things covering it, and you're not allowed to do that. There's a whole lot of other stuff you're not allowed to do as well. Like you're not allowed to squirt if you're a woman.
In the UK?
Yeah, in case it's pee, because they don't allow you to pee. So there are some rules where I think, oh my God, I can totally see why we've got that law, and then we've got some where I'm just like, what? So some of them seem quite rational.
That's like an obscenity thing? Why can't you?
Yes, yeah. So I think that's the Obscene Publications Act. Yes, but then there are other things we're not allowed to do because it's extreme or violent. So, for example, nipple clamps are a bit of a kind of grey area because people disagree about whether they could cause non-transient injury or not.
Do people go to jail for nipple clamps?
No one yet, but it's like it's one of the things that it could kind of go either way if someone did take you to court. I mean, I don't know anyone that this has happened to, but there were some British men who were imprisoned for like consensual BDSM activity. I think they were doing like quite hard CBT. So yeah, it's kind of a sliding scale really. and often you don't know till you're being prosecuted whether like you've stayed the right side of the door. Like, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to go because my husband's ex-wife is coming to stay. She's really nice. Like, I would really happily talk about this more. Like, it's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this has been frustrating for you, but it's been really
frustrating. It's frustrating.
It's been really interesting for me.
Admit that I'm right. Admit that I'm fucking right. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's
Like,
stay in touch.
I really liked your questions. Like, I've not ever really had the opportunity to talk about porn like this before, so it's cool. So thank you for having me. I like it.
You're welcome. I'm gonna follow you on Twitter.
So, as a first attempt, there's lots that I can improve on. If there was one thing I could improve on, I think I would like to become much faster at attacking my opponent's position back rather than just staying defensive, because if you just stay defensive, you don't get onto the topics that you particularly want to talk about. This has always been my problem with chess as well, that I just don't want my pieces to be taken, so I just want to look after them. And that's not how you win a chess game. And I don't feel like I lost this argument, but I can see how I could have been more persuasive if I'd been prepared to take a bit more risk and challenge some more of what he said. So I hope you found that interesting. I want to learn more about how to do this, so I'm going to try to get more opportunities, and hopefully if you see me taking those opportunities, you will see me applying some of the corrections that I've made to myself in my attempt to become Richard Dawkins, even though he doesn't come across as very jolly or friendly a lot of the time. And I do want to stay good-humoured because, at least at the moment, I find this a really pleasurable thing to do. And I feel like I prefer to watch people debating when I get the impression that they're having a nice time, so I don't want to lose that quality. So thank you, as always, for watching. This has been my longest video ever, but obviously you are aware that as a libertarian, I don't feel like you should have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. So thank you, as all. Please like, subscribe, I'll be back with more, and it's goodbye from me. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.